Okay, Gabriella asks, how do I make money in real estate without using my own money? And I love this question. Okay, so how do I buy houses without money? How do I make money in real estate without having any money? What is it that you're saying, Whitney? It sounds Greek. It sounds like a scam. It sounds like crap. It's not. And I promise it's not. Okay? It's totally real. It's totally doable. I put a $10 check down on a house, and every single one of you has $10 in your pocket. That's lunch. Okay? Put $10 down on a house, And in 8 weeks, I collected $15,000. Honest to goodness, as sure as I'm standing here, I did not flip it. I did not paint it. I did not landscape it. I only went over there like twice. I went over once to hang the sign and take the pictures. I went on another time to show my tenant buyers around. I literally did nothing. Okay? When I say I did nothing, I mean I did nothing to improve the property to make that $15,000. What I did before I got that house under contract is I went to a boot camp. I went to a weekend workshop. I immersed myself in CDs, in YouTube videos, in a program. I studied, I hired a mentor. I did all sorts of work before I went to get that contract. Maybe not fully, but I had enough of an idea. I had enough conviction that I was going to get it done. I had enough in my head that I knew I could do this. All I had to do was go out there and find a seller. And that's what I did. I went out there and found a seller that had a problem. I fixed their problem. I solved their problem. The house was too small for them. Their daughter had come home unexpectedly and she was, surprise, pregnant. And the house wasn't big enough for 4 people. They were under a real time crunch to get out. It wasn't a money issue. It wasn't a house issue. It was that their daughter came home pregnant and the house wasn't big enough. And they had to go. So I took over the house for them. That's what I did. I did all of my work ahead of time so that I could confidently go into this house and say, I'm going to give you a $10 check and I'm going to start making your payments in June. This was in February when I did this, when the weather was bad and we weren't trucking a lot, so I could go look at houses. Went out and said, I'll give you $10. I'll take over your payments in June. And I found a buyer with cash who cashed us out of the property. And I didn't have to make that June payment. We sold the house. I had it under contract in February for $122. And I sold it to my buyers for $135. And I had a $10 check in it. I had a vested interest in the property. I did all the work ahead of time so that I knew what I was doing. And when they signed that contract, I knew to start advertising it, to do this, to do that, to talk to tenant buyers, to see what they had, to get this contract done, so that I did the bulk of the work before I got the house. I understood the whole process, right? But I understood it from like a classroom perspective. Being in the thick of it is when the classroom stuff is so important. But being in the thick of it and living through it, there's no way to replace that. There's no classroom training that can replace that. That's on-the-job training, and that is the magic. All right? I will prepare you. I will teach you everything that I know. I'll tell you all my good stories. I'll tell you all my bad stories. But whatever I teach you in the classroom, whatever I teach you in First Deal Done Fast, whatever I teach you in one-on-one, it's only going to prepare you to go out into the world and get these deals done without using your money. Okay? That's what we do ahead of time. That's why we coach. That's why I have a program. That's why we work together. That's why we have a special group so that we can ask questions and get answers and do things like that. So that when we get in front of a seller, we know what to do. We know what the plan is. We know how we can buy houses without money. All right? And I can tell you stories of how I bought houses without money. But until I can get you into the program and really show you step by step what we actually do to get to that point, to be sitting with those sellers, and what we say to those sellers to get them to agree to this, without convincing, without coming off as scammy, without being dirty or gross or anything like that, that's what we do in First Deal Done Fast, so that we can prep you to getting in front of the seller so that you can get the real world experience, so that in a month, 2 months, whatever, you can say, I did it. Everything she said in First Deal Done Fast is exactly how it happened. Or, you know, what she said in First Deal Done Fast was basically what happened. But when I got to my world, my attorney wanted to do this, and my attorney wanted to do that, and my seller said this. But it was all basically the same thing. All right. I have not invested in every place in America, so there's going to be little things that change. And this is where people are like, well, what if it doesn't work in my area? Well, why wouldn't it work in your area? Your people put their pants on just like my people in Tennessee do. Your people have parents that are passing, and they're inheriting houses that they don't want, just like my people are inheriting houses that they don't want. Okay, that happens everywhere. Death and taxes, y'all. I find a lot of people that have houses that they just don't want to be landlords anymore. They either decide that they want to buy apartment complexes and get out of houses, or they decide that they want to buy into Bitcoins and they got to cash out their houses to be able to buy into Bitcoins. All right, whatever it is, they just decide they don't want to do this anymore. So when you can find those tired landlords, or when you can find those inherited properties, if you just work with those two people off the MLS in your market, you're going to have an abundance of opportunities to buy houses. I'm turning into Casper, so I'm going to shut the blinds. Oh yeah, that looks way better. Now I look orange instead of white. Anyway, so the way you make money in real estate without having any money, without using your own money, is you prepare to get yourself in a position to talk to a seller who doesn't want money. I promise you right now, if you go out to the internet, or if you go out to your life, into your world, and you start saying, hey y'all, I want to buy houses with no money, who wants to work with me? You're going to hear crickets. Because there's a system, and there's a plan, and there's a script, and there's a process, and there's things that you need to do. And a lot of the things that we do to show you how to buy these houses with no money is in your head. I talked to one of my one-on-one students yesterday. He signed up for one-on-one. He was like, I know I need you. I don't really understand it, but just give it to me. Let's go. We'll figure it out as we're moving along. And then we got on the call, and he was really quiet. He was really reserved. And I was like, dude, what is going on? And he was like, I still don't get it. Who's going to do this? And so we talked and we talked and we talked. And in about 10 minutes, he told me he had a tenant give him $8,000 and prepay for a year of rent. And I was like, dude, she would have given you that same $8,000 to be buying that house. She might have given you $8,000 plus a year's rent in advance if you would have given her the option to be buying that house. And he was like, oh my gosh. I was like, yeah. I said, you didn't even try to get that $8,000, did you? Did you ask her for $8,000? And he was like, no, she just called and offered it. And I was like, okay. If you found one person like that on accident, when we start trying to find those people, it's going to be amazing, because she's got friends with $8,000. She's got friends of friends with $10,000. Okay. You just found an amazing person in your market that is going to become your tenant buyer. She is exactly the kind of person that we're going to be looking for. And he was like, yeah, you're right. All right. And after that clicked in his head, He wasn't quiet anymore. Suddenly he had lots of questions. Suddenly he was a lot more involved in the conversation. Suddenly he had like plans, and he was talking about, I talked to that person, and they, oh my God, and then that person, and then, he got it. Okay. It clicked. It didn't all click, but it was the first domino down. So that when we line the rest of them up, and he can see it in process, because this is a guy that's been invested in houses and real estate, and he's been doing it the old, slow, boring way, and he wants to do it my way. But he doesn't know anybody besides me that's done it this way. But it clicked. He had that first, okay, this is going to work. And every week when we talk on our one-on-one, he's going to knock down another domino and another domino and another domino until he gets all the way to closing, because I'm going to carry him and push him and drag him all the way through this process, so that at the end of it, he's going to say, I had no idea what we were doing, but damn, it worked. I completely understand it now. I also helped him find a honey hole so that he could actually find these people that were going to be more interested in doing a lease option with him. And I'm excited. I'm excited for him. So that's how you make money in real estate without money. You jump in, you say, it's going to work. I'm going to figure it out. That's what I did. I said, it's going to work. If it's working for them, it's going to work for me. And that's what this one-on-one student said. He said, well, if it's working for you, it's got to work for me.